Hey, how's it going? If you're new here, my name is Jan and I love makeup. And if you're not new, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate you. Today's video is part 3 in the eyeshadow palette decluttering trilogy I've got going. Oh my goodness. I never did say. So I assume it goes without saying, which is why I haven't mentioned every single eyeshadow palette in these videos I've either purchased or was given to me from my best friend as a gift, with the exception of one, which is coming up, and I'll tell you, of course I'll tell you. If you already know, if you've been here for any length of time, you totally know. But so when I'm decluttering my own money, my own like time, energy, these aren't things that were just handed to me. So this declutter, I don't think is like a lot of declutters that you might see where people are just like really hoeing out their collection. I'm hoeing out things that I really just am not going to reach for, that I can rehome to someone who will appreciate it more than I will, because my collection is rather large for a regular person. So keep that in mind through these videos. If you haven't seen 1 and 2 yet, I will of course link them below. And if you have and you want to go back and watch them with new eyes from this perspective, you should do that. So, all right, enough yammering. Hopefully you're subscribed and like this video, and we'll just get into it. First up, we have ABH. And this is the Riviera palette. I was so flipping excited to get this palette. Even looking at it now, I can feel what I felt like when this was released. Mike and I are cruisers. We love to go on cruises, and we've convinced our best friends to love it. And so they've gone with us, and my best friend and I really kind of talked about this palette and where we're gonna get it and looks we were gonna do with it. And it was a really good time. This one, I think I might hang on to this one just for the memories, because this was like the first time in my adult life that I could really just afford to say, oh my gosh, I want that palette and I'm going to get it. Before that, it was, I had to save up and think about what I could get, or get things when they were on sale. And this one was pretty cool. This is a big deal for me. So this one's gonna stay, but only as a memory, not a strong start. Next, I have the Amrezy palette. I did not get this when it came out. I really just got it a few years ago. And I mean, it looks like such a good time. Look at that. I don't reach for any of these eyeshadows. So I think it's time to rehome the ones that I'm not going to use to someone who will appreciate them. Next, we have the ABH Norvina palette. Again, was very excited about this one. And as we're looking at them, it's going to be a lot of the same thing over and over and over again. So this one's going to go as well. I do think the Amrezy one looks a bit more fun than the Norvina, but I'm not hanging on to either one. And then we have Soft Glam. This one is iconic. Everyone knows and loves this palette. And you can see I have used the heck out of mine. But again, it's just a neutral palette, and I have plenty that I would reach for before this one. So that one can go to a new home as well. And then we have the Sultry palette. This is one that I was like, ooh, again, so few cool tones available back in the day that when this came out, I was like, oh, that's so pretty. And I'm still like, oh, that's so pretty. But I'm gonna part with this one as well. It's not worth keeping if I'm not gonna enjoy it, right? And if I'm not gonna use it, someone else can, so. And then we have the Prism. Again, did not buy, whoo! This one's had a bit of a time. Holy moly. These palettes literally just sit in, oh, I wonder if one of the babies played with this. This is why I need to have palettes for the babies and palettes for the nanny. Yeah, so I'm going to declutter this one, and whoever ends up with it, good luck cleaning it up. Those crazy babies. Okay, next we have the Tati Beauty Volume 1. It's the only one there's ever going to be. I did just use this for like a party look. This palette is phenomenal. Tati 100% knew what she was doing when she curated this palette and did all the things, because it is a beautiful, just incredible palette. I don't really watch Tati anymore or anything like that, but this is a great palette and I'm going to hang on to it. It is that good. Next we have Sydney Grace in an empty Nomad palette. This is the In Mel's Memory. I just got this. So far I love every single shade I've used, so this is staying for sure. And I have the Enduring Love palette, and this is the deeper version, I believe. And it's beautiful. I mean, look at that. So good. And then of course we have Tiny Marvels, which Mel did with Sydney Grace. Of course, this one's not going anywhere. This is a beautiful palette as well. So I'm hanging on to all three of these. Sydney Grace is just, I don't know, like when I think about Sydney Grace eyeshadows, I think very unassuming, very neutral, natural, but every flippin' palette I've played with, or, you know, in Mel's Memory singles, have been fantastic. So good. There is one shade in one palette that isn't going to be a part of this palette declutter that I didn't love, but it was just like a first date kind of a thing. It could have been me. I might have had a crappy attitude. We'll try it again and see, but for now, these three are staying. Next, we have my Natasha Denona collection. These are all the midi and large palettes, with the exception of this one right here. I took a bunch of the like full-size 5-pan palettes and put them in a Nomad Z palette. I just wasn't reaching for them, so I thought, well, if I put them, or no, what the hell were these, minis? I don't know. I thought if I put them in a bigger palette together, I might be more inclined to reach for them, and I have been. There's no color story here. They're all just kind of thrown in there the way I think it looked good at the time. Wonder if I should do that, like just go through pre and post PMS and see if the palettes look any different. Let me know if that's a thing we should start doing here on the YouTubes. PMS palettes and the not PMS palettes. Shawnee, you should get on that. I bet you'd be fantastic at it. All right, anyway, get serious. This is an eyeshadow palette declutter, not a PMS video. I'm keeping this. Spoiler alert, I'm going to keep all of my Natasha Denonos. I just am. I have the Sunrise palette. We'll just take a quick reconnoiter through all of these. Beautiful. Can't complain. Hanging on to it. I will say I don't have every single one. I did not get the pastels. I did not get the new one. I have the retro. The pastel one made me angry, and the new one kind of made me angry too. I'm not buying makeup that makes me angry. And then we have the Love, which shamefully I've only used one time. So I need to bust this out. You know, what's the holiday? Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is coming, so I'll be sure to bust out the Love palette because I feel like that makes sense. And then we have the Glam palette. So pretty. Obviously hanging on to all of these. I have the Zendo. I really thought this one was very pretty. I was excited about this. I love the colors in this palette. I have the Glam Face palette. I got the darker version. And that's what it looks like. It's very pretty. And I have the Biba, which I definitely got on sale. I just thought this was such a pretty palette. I really like it a lot. Well, this part of the declutter is so much easier than the previous ones. Then we have the Tropic palette. Now this one has a couple of duds, but we're not going to throw out the baby with the bathwater. I'll just keep it and play with it. This shimmery blue shade I thought would be so pretty, and it is. Like, if you build it up and pack it on, it is pretty. But yeah, the limoncello shade makes me mad. Makes me mad in this palette. It made me mad in the pastel palette that I didn't even get. Just made me mad. And then we have the Circo Loco. I was beside myself when this palette was announced. I was so excited to try colorful eyeshadow from Natasha Denona. I had a very good time playing with this palette. I liked it a lot. And the last Natasha Denona palette I have is the Sunset palette. This came in the mystery box that I got from Steph. So I haven't used it yet. It's still in the box and everything. This is the only one in this packaging that I have. That looks like fun though. Man, oh man. I'm excited to play with that. Next up, we have Pat McGrath Labs, and this is the Nirvana. Yep. It's the Nirvana palette. Oh. I know this had some seriously mixed reviews, but I love this palette. I think it is so good. So obviously not going anywhere. We have the Celestial Odyssey. Again, so pretty. And then we have the Celestial Divinity. So good. This shade down here, oh, I love it with my whole heart. So good. I love them. So, yep, all of these are staying, and I'm ditching 5 ABH. So let me clear some space and I'll get the next batch. We have the Tropicolor Sydney Grace and the Fancy Face palette. I just reviewed this. I really liked almost every shade in this palette. This one right here called Dr. Bird, I had a bit of a time with. And you know, it could be I had a crappy attitude. It could be that the shade sucks. I'll play with it again and figure it out. But for right now, even if I hated that shade, the rest of the eyeshadows in this are so good. They're staying. Then we have the Cosmic Brushes Serenity palette. This literally broke the internet. Like, people went crazy for this palette. They have restocked it and restocked it and restocked it, and I completely understand why. This palette is fantastic. I definitely want to get the Royal Rose one. Next, I have this just random Z palette with my copacetic eyeshadows singles in there. Look at that. So this is what I'm saying, like that Profusion Rainbow palette in my last video with singles from this could be a really good time. So definitely hang on to this. In fact, I don't know if there's a single, no, there might be, but most of these palettes are staying. BH Cosmetics, the Lit List palette. I use this quite a bit over the holidays. If you didn't catch any of those videos, well, I'm not sure how you missed them, but I love this palette. It's so good. I wish it wasn't as huge as it is. I don't love humongous palettes, but this is such a good one that I forgive its enormous size. Now we have some Blend Bunny. I have all of the Blend Bunny palettes. I have the All Done Up palette, which I think is fantastic. Smaller than the other palettes, but I really like this size. I think that they are onto something with this. It's so good. And then we have the Surge palette. This one might be like top of the list for me. I love, love, love this color story so much. Obviously staying. And then we have the blends. Again, love, love, love this palette. Such a good one. And then we have Primal, which was the newest one prior to the All Done Up. Absolutely beautiful. I feel like these palettes just get better and better and better and better. But Blend Bunny knows what they're doing. And my first Blend Bunny palette was the Dollhouse palette. I wasn't sure if I could handle like the bright fun colors, so I thought I would buy this one. And I think I might have gotten blends at the same time, and I just decided I needed everything. They're so good. This is such a beautiful palette. Those are all staying. I have the BH Cosmetics Zodiac palette. I'm not going to open this one. I'm going to hang on to it. I really like BH Cosmetics, and this was one of the good formula palettes. I borrowed my daughter's and decided that I probably should just pick up one for my own self. So I did, and I'm keeping it. We have the ABH Narvina collection. The purple one just fell on the floor. This is the orange one. This was the one I had wanted originally and I couldn't get. But that looks so, so good. I haven't even used this yet. This was another one that came in the Busy Beauty mystery box. That is gorgeous. I just hate that they're so heavy. Okay, I have recovered the Fallen Soldier. It's the purple one. Let's see how it fared. Oh, indestructible. Look at that. Not a broken shadow in sight. I was thinking I wouldn't hang on to these because they do weigh a lot and they're very hard for me to hold. But I haven't used the orange one yet, and the purple one is really good quality. So next up, let's do Odin's Eye. I have the Merry Christmas palette, which I full on love. I think this is such a fun color story. Obviously staying. Here comes Kat. And then I have the Angie and Odin's Eye Hella palette. This is what the front looks like. And the inside. I love this one too. It's staying as well. And then we have the Solomane 2 palette, and I'm saying it wrong. Ollie Kimke is sorry. Look at that. So pretty. It's definitely staying as well. And then I have the Saga of Freya. This came in the mystery bundle that I got. And I really do like this color story. I love the orange and green together. So I'm going to hang on to this one as well. And also in that mystery box, I got the Alba. I decluttered the highlighter that came with this, the single. And I'm going to declutter this one as well. It's just, these two shades right here are amazing if you like that kind of a color. But the rest of it's just, you know, fine. And I have other things that I like more. So I'm going to declutter this one. I pay money for these things and I enjoy them. So I'm not decluttering things that I like. Next up, we have Unearthly Cosmetics. This is the Strawberry Milkshake palette. I used this once and it was really good. I'm very much looking forward to playing with this again. It's so pretty, super fun. But we're back to like the super huge pan size. I really would like for brands to start doing smaller pans. And then we have Fairy Frolic from Unearthly. Again, huge pans. Too much eyeshadow, too much money. Let's make them smaller. And then I had used that one as well. And then I have the In the Dark palette. I tried using this one once and it was not a successful look. So I put it back on the back in the box and pretend I didn't even try. I will have to bust it out again and try to do another look. Sometimes I'm just like not in the right headspace and a color story just doesn't work for me. But it is really, really pretty, and I do think it will be fun to play with. But I've mentioned before, I am not a makeup artist. I am not creative at all. I just kind of do whatever strikes my fancy in the moment. In that moment, I had to wash it all off and pretend like it never happened. So those are staying. 2 from Gloss Gods. I have the new neutrals, which I have not used yet, but I cannot wait. It is going to be such a good time when I do. Look at those. I've swatched them, of course, because they're beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Keeping that one. And then I also have the Look for Rainbows from Gloss Gods, and I have used this one as well a couple of times. And the first time I used this palette, I literally ended up smearing the eyeshadows on my cheeks. I just couldn't get enough of these eyeshadows. They are so, so pretty. They look amazing on the eyes too. Holy moly. Next we have the Dragon Fruit palette from Clionadh Cosmetics. This one had mixed reviews. Some people said they really didn't like it and some people really did. I'm one of the really did. I thought this was such a good palette. It was expensive. With shipping and everything from Canada, it was $70-something, but man, is it lovely. Then you have to like pick eyeshadow, but I do. I really like this palette a lot. Definitely staying. And I have 2 eyeshadow palettes from Kaleidos. I have the Escape Pod palette, which just looks like so much fun. Though, does this annoy anybody else? Like one shimmer? They couldn't cut it down to just have like 2 rows of mattes and 1 row of shimmers? Like one lone shimmer hanging out here by himself? It shouldn't annoy me, and I don't know why it does. We're just not going to think about it. But this palette I played with once and I had such a good time. This is definitely staying. And the other one I have is the Club Nebula, which I just used in a Throwback Thursday video. This was a collaboration with Angelica Nyquist, who is Angie in my head, and on the YouTubes. That shade fell out again and I forgot about it. Darn, darn, darn. That shimmery blue shade fell out. The magnet or the glue or something is not working in this. And now it's on the floor and a little bit broken. Damn it. And you can't replace this, so awesome sauce. Let me see if I can get that cleaned up. And then I'll come back with the last batch of eyeshadows and we will have officially decluttered all of my eyeshadows. Okay, we are down to the last of it. Now, if you've been keeping track and you know me at all, you know we haven't talked about Nomad yet. You won't be surprised to hear there's not a lot I'm going to get rid of from Nomad. I love Nomad, one of my absolute favorite brands out there today. I am going to part with one palette. If you have any guesses, leave it in the comment section and then I'll let you know when I get there which one it is. So we have the Nomad Ensenadas Surf Shack palette. This is a little quad. So good. So good. How can a 4-pan palette be that good, you ask? It just is. I love this. And I have the Malibu. When I ordered these, they came as a 2-pack. So there's the Malibu. They're just beautiful. So easy to put on, so easy to play with. Just fantastic. Love, love, love them. And then there's my first ever Nomad purchase. It's the Home for the Holidays palette. It was last year's holiday palette. Can you hear Cat? If I told you what he was doing right now. So rude. This was their holiday palette from last year. Love it. It's not going anywhere. He's a maniac. He's literally trying to talk over me. Okay, and then we have the Tuscany palette. I just showed you all of my Nomad palettes in the fall before they did their big sale. That one's not going anywhere. I have the Lake Como, which is still in its box because I haven't had a chance to use it yet. That's what that one looks like. Like I said, we're breezing through these because I have a whole video on all of these palettes already on my channel, so I don't want to bore you too much. Who am I kidding? I could talk about Nomad palettes all day long. Also, not for nothing, wow, Nomad gave me a code. It's Jan. We'll save you 10% off your purchase if you use it at checkout. Yeah, I completely forgot to mention that I probably could have used it in all of my videos. If you were shopping for the holidays, you could have used my code. Yep. It's the only code I have, so. And then we have this year's holiday palette. It's the Santa's Village palette. This one didn't get a lot of love. I think the mattes in here are fantastic. The shimmer shades are toppers, so you gotta like toppers in order to like them. This one is a bit more opaque and, you know, shimmery goodness, but I thought it was nice. I had fun playing with it. I did a bunch of looks. It's on my channel under Nomad. I have a whole Nomad playlist because Nomad was the first like indie brand I really got like sucked into and really started purchasing from and all of that. So when I first discovered Nomad, went crazy, bought all kinds of stuff, like everything that was available, pretty much, almost. And then one of my subscribers emailed someone at Nomad, either Felicia or Auntie somebody, and said that I was a huge fan, and so they emailed me and asked if they could send me the Whistler palette when it was released. So this is the only palette that I did not pay for in my collection. This was sent to me from Nomad, and I love it, of course. I have a shadow box hanging on the wall with like the packaging and all the stuff that came with it because I'm a dorkfish, and I think things like that matter. And I don't know, I just thought it was so cool. And now I will have a code with Nomad, and they're going to send me PR with their new releases. So it's very, very exciting. And I have the America's Parks palette. I literally have everything that is available on the website and some things that are retired. Gorgeous palette. This was one of the first ones I saw that I was like, ooh, that's got me feeling some kind of way. And then there's the Iceland Fire and Ice palette. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, love, love, love it. And then we have the Cartagena palette. So good. They're all just so stinking good. And we have the Hudson Valley palette, which was their fall release. I just played with this again. Man, what a great palette. So, so, so good. So good. Like I said, I have a whole Nomad playlist if you're looking for videos to watch or Nomad content. And this is the Japan, Tokyo. And this is a very nice palette. It's all pastels, really, really pretty. I'm going to be honest and say I do think the Lost in Los Angeles is a little bit better, but this would be my second pick. So I'm nothing if not honest. Lying is not something I can do. And then we have the Nomad Provence palette. So good. I love this palette. If you're my skin tone, these all work. If you're darker, not all of the shades work for you. Nomad really is like trying to do right by all the humans who want to wear makeup. And then we have the Marrakesh palette. So if you get any of their eyeshadow palettes and you've got feedback, you should give it to them because they take it seriously. I know it happened with Jamila. She was like, listen, this isn't exactly tan girl friendly. And, you know, they try to do good. Nomad is an amazing company. The humans behind it, I know you've heard this before from me, but it's true. We have the Haunted Europe palette. Mine is covered because it will give me nightmares. I'm that much of a scaredy cat. but the inside's beautiful. And we have the Cloud Forest, I think. Yeah, Monteverde. I say Verde like I'm a Vermonter because I am. We're in the Green Mountain State, Vermont. Anyway, that's the Cloud Forest palette. And then we have Paradise Islands, which is so pretty. The whole center row. And in this one, like I just love so many of the shades. This one, you know, maybe not super noticeable on my eyes, but everything else, stellar. So good. And the last big palette I have is the Orient Express. It's in the box. I haven't had a chance to play with it yet. I picked up this one and Haunted Europe when just before the holidays, like in the fall. So there were other palettes that were out, but I did swatch this. I swatched all of these in the video I did all about Nomad before their sales. I swatched every one of these palettes, which I totally forgot about until I just saw this one, and included that in the video. So if you're wondering, that's available. I do swatch on my leg for the most part. They're not doing anything else. I might as well service swatching. It's not like they're carrying me around anywhere or anything. All right, and the one palette I have that I'm not going to hang on to is the Studio 54. And this is a 4-pan, kind of a topper-ish formula. I just don't reach for it. I don't use it. And I think this is one of the ones I'll put away for the babies to play with. So there you have it. Let me get all of my shiz collected and figure out how many palettes I'm keeping and how many palettes I am decluttering, and then I'll come back. I will fill you in and we can wrap this video up. Okay, when I started this journey, what feels like 27 hours ago, I had 201 palettes in my collection. Right now, I have decided to keep 137 and I've decluttered 74. I feel like that's really good. I don't know about you, but that feels pretty darn good, which means for the most part, I'm very happy with my purchases. Some of the things I've decluttered, I've had for 10 years. Like, that's a long time. And I don't feel bad about rehoming those things. Don't worry, I will of course tell anybody who gets this stuff that it's all used, it's all like been taken care of because I'm a nut. But yeah, so I have a fresh start with, how many did I say? 137. Technically, I have 3 new eyeshadow palettes coming in, like now. They're here already, but they don't count towards the declutter. So I'll be starting out 2023 with 140 eyeshadow palettes. So let's just see how that goes. I super appreciate you hanging out with me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section what you think of declutters. Was this anticlimactic? Was this good? Was it not good? Yeah, this wraps up my declutter series. So I've done blush, bronzer, highlight, and eyeshadow palettes. I did an eyeliner declutter on the DL because I was embarrassed. I still have a boatload of eyeliners and I got rid of a boatload of eyeliners. So it's just best that there's no actual record of that. All right, I think I'm gonna leave it there. I'm exhausted. This was a long exercise. There we go, done and dusted. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Either way, I super appreciate you being here today. Be good and remember to be kind to you.